the main thing we do in Access Tech is run a 24/7 digital security helpline. So that is specifically set up for civil societies, independent media, journalists, citizen journalists, bloggers, human rights defenders, and activists. And one of the big portions of that work is computer emergency response. So when a blogger gets incarcerated, we can try and get their accounts deactivated really quickly so that their whole network of contacts is not compromised. We do a lot of defending of independent news sites from a DDoS attack, particularly related to events like elections, where one side will decide that they want to deny the citizens access to any information that might sway them to vote in a different direction. Yeah, we do a lot of work with journalists and with media in defending their web presence and securing their communications to keep them safe, to keep their sources safe, which is obviously very important as well. There's an online-offline thing happening, and the internet works in a certain way. It was designed to route around issues in the network, and certainly we see that online. But we also see that now more offline as well. And I think people really they have a mindset now which is more peer-to-peer than in the past, where they looked to the government for everything. Now people are looking elsewhere. They're looking at who else around them can provide what they need. So we're looking for an appropriate level of security in an infinite space of vulnerability, because you're always vulnerable if you have an adversary that is willing to commit the necessary resources to find that vulnerability. We want to encourage everyone across the board to take a step forward, because every time we take a step forward, if we have people using encryption that don't need encryption, that's helping to create a body of encrypted traffic. So the first thing is to think with a security mindset. It's really, really important. So if you're a journalist and you are communicating with a source, we have to be thinking about the chain of that communication. Because you might be using webmail where from your browser it's encrypted, so it looks to you as it's secure, but you have to consider that email on its path between you and the recipient and everything it's going through, and all the points where it's encrypted, where it's not encrypted, where it's vulnerable, and so on until it reaches that recipient. So yeah, one of the first things is to really start thinking about these kind of problems. And once you adopt a view of the world where you're thinking about security, then it becomes much easier to choose the right technology that will serve you and the people that you're communicating with. If you want to go a bit deeper, I mean, journalists use a lot of email, so there are combinations of email systems that will give a very secure communications channel. So combining, PGP with a webmail system so that the headers are encrypted in the SSL and the body is always encrypted with PGP. So when the data is at rest on the mail servers and the three-letter agencies get access from there, they still don't get the content of the message. This is a total fallacy that if someone like a journalist is using an operating system like OS X or some Unix system like Linux, that they are secure. Because the problem is that one of the really the main adversary of journalists is the large entities, the governments or corporations that they frequently embarrass. And so those entities, like the government entities, obviously are very, very, very well resourced, and they can expend an enormous amount of resource targeted to that one journalist. The target is very, very small. The target doesn't have a lot of resource. When that journalist is trying to do his journalism job, he doesn't have a lot of time to do information security on top of that. And so they can do something like write a piece of malware specifically for that journalist so that it won't be detected by antivirus. It'll be targeted to the operating system that that journalist is using. It'll be constructed in such a way that it appeals to that journalist so that it's much easier for them to get it installed. So this is what we're seeing. We're seeing a shocking rise in the use of corporate or commercial, sorry, and state-sponsored malware. And these are very targeted attacks. They're very effective, and relying on the security of, say, OS 10 is just not going to help you. We need to go beyond that. And at Access, we're trying to design some tools which will help in this terrible problem. So we've designed a device that's about the size of a cigarette packet. It's a personal intrusion detection system. It has rules on it to attempt to detect this style of targeted attack. And basically, when the journalist is in the field or in their office or whatever, they have their laptop and they put this device and connect to it, and then it connects to the whatever they're connecting to. There's open source intrusion detection software out there, and anyone can install it, but there's two huge problems with that for even very technical users, and those two problems are monitoring it. So if you need to monitor that 24/7, that's a hard problem. And the second thing is being able to interpret the alerts that it generates. So you need someone that is skilled in that particular thing. So with our 24/7 helpline, we can deploy these personal intrusion detection devices, and then we monitor those when they're in the field. And if we detect an attack, we can use another communications channel out of band to warn them. Because the thing about this type of malware is that it's incredibly sophisticated, and once that malware is on your laptop or whatever, your device, no amount of security system is going to help you. So even if you use systems like PGP with your email, this malware will take the private keys out of memory. It'll keylog the passphrase you put in, and then they have access to the encrypted communications. So, and their intention usually is to just let it sit there silently. You don't know it's there. No one else knows it's there. And they watch you and they monitor everything that you're doing, because that's what they're interested in. So what we need to do is not find it 6 months down the track when you've already been compromised for a long period of time. We need to find it when it's attempted to be installed, and that's why we are deploying these devices. We know that this particularly this commercial malware is being sold to governments all over the world, and it's sold to very large governments like the US government, but it's also sold to the governments of Nigeria, and it's Gamma in the UK and Hacking Team in Italy certainly seem to be the two that have the lion's share of the market. They will sell to anyone. They will sell to absolutely anyone. And we know that this, sort of by accident, we've discovered that this software is in use in many, many countries. But the software is very sophisticated. It's very difficult to detect. It's very difficult to get forensic evidence from, an activist in Nigeria to be able to analyze that and prove everything. But we suspect that the scale of the problem is far, far greater than is currently known. This is going to be like the next sort of revelations post Snowden. When we are able to use technology to detect the scale of the problem, we're going to find that it's very, very large. I think we are losing in some areas, but I think we are winning in others, and I think that probably in the future there will be a real shift towards people understanding more about what privacy means online. I mean, people do care about privacy. You don't see many people walking around the streets with no clothes on. So they understand in the physical world that there are some things that they should be keeping to themselves. And I think they're beginning to realize that in the digital realm. And so, yeah, hopefully, and with the help of organizations like ours, we will help that process and help convince them that there are things that they should be doing to really encourage everyone to realize the value of the things that they have online and their data and their privacy. There's another battle going on for control of the internet, so control over the infrastructure and certain aspects of the way that it works and so on, and battles over net neutrality and so on. But I think we will ultimately win this because even if we lose the battle and governments and corporations end up completely owning the space that is the internet, we will just move to something new.